Hello, my name is Leroy Blevins. Welcome to Mysteries and Histories. In this episode here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you more information about the sniper's nest, and I'm also going to give you a lot more information. We're going to view this uh, evidence and stuff right here as well. Now, I'm also going to tell you things that a lot of researchers will not tell people, okay? Because if they tell you and they show you, which a lot of these researchers don't even know themselves, all they're going to do is say, well, you know, one thing or another, which I'll use the example of Oswald's fingerprints. They're not going to give you this information because if they give you this information, it blows their case out of the water. They're going to say Oswald's innocent. Oswald didn't take no shots or nothing else. He's a patsy. But when they say, well, Oswald's prints was found on the boxes and everything else like that, they're going to say, well, they're going to make up another story to put on there and say, well, they put Oswald's prints on it at the morgue after Oswald was assassinated. But they're also going to leave out the information of saying, well, these prints was actually found on the 22nd, the day of assassination, when a lot of these prints were found, and Oswald wasn't in the morgue until 2 days later. Okay, but that's what they're going to do. They're not going to give you that kind of information. I will, which I'll probably get upset by a lot of this information I'm about to give out. These JFK researchers are going to get upset over it because I'm giving this information out, because the people needs to fully understand, okay, when you buy somebody's book and you read it and they said, well, here you go, they found Oswald's prints on here, but that was placed on, they don't specifically tell you what prints were found. They don't specifically tell you where the prints was found at and the location. Well, in my research, what I do is I do the research, I do the investigation, and I piece all the evidence together and I analyze everything. Like I pointed out before in my videos and in my book, researchers will send their stuff out for other people to tell them what they think. Okay. In my research, I do it all myself. I don't send it out to somebody else and say, hey, could you look over this for me and give me your opinion and stuff so I can put it down, as evidence. I can't do that. I got to do it all myself. So I do all the analyzing and everything myself. But I'll also make it clear for people that can't afford to buy books or anything. That's why I make these videos, so you can see and fully understand exactly what took place that day and everything else, and the information that these images can give us. Nothing they won't point out. Just like right here, I'm going to pull up this image here. As you see here, okay, now they're going to tell you that there's only 2 bullet cases found. That third bullet case is someone put in there and everything else. It all depends now. You got to realize this. It all depends, because there's 2 bullet cases close together, but there was one far off from the other. And it all depends what location you're at, as you see in this image here. It all depends what location you're at. Just like this guy right here. He's going to look down, all he's going to see is 2 bullet casings because he's standing right behind these 2 people here. He's not going to see a third bullet casing this way over here. So he's only going to see 2 bullet casings there, and that's it. So I want to clear that up, because like I said, when we look at the images, okay, like we pull up this one here, we're going to see these 2 bullet casings over here, but there's one way over here. Okay, so when they're looking over this direction here from this side, they're only going to see the 2 bullet casings. And sometimes, like someone's standing right here and someone's looking over the shoulder, all they're going to see is these 2 bullet casings here. They're not going to see that one that's in front of this guy right here that's standing. And if they're looking from this direction, they're only going to see 2 bullet casings. They're not even going to see this one over here. So they're not going to give you this information. They're going to say, oh, there was only 2 bullet casings found, but actually there was 3 bullet casings found. Okay, it's just you got to understand the circumstance that was going on at that time and who was all there and who was looking at them and everything else, because some of them has in the reports that 3 was found and some of them only said 2. Okay, this is what a researcher does. He's got to piece all this together to make fully understand of why only certain ones seen 2 of them and why some of them seen 3 of them. Okay, before you play a story, because a lot of people says that third bullet case and someone brought it in there. Okay, now just like right here, as you see here, as they mark it down, which I'm going to show you right here, okay, at the top of this image here, they place this bullet casing for 543, this bullet casing here 544, and this bullet casing here 545. However, they made a mistake. This bullet casing here is actually 545, and this bullet casing here is actually 544. And now let me show you why I say this. Because if you look at this bullet casing, okay, as you see here, it's written on here, 545. Now, if you look at the top, tip right here. See how it's got that crease in it right along here? Okay, this one don't have it, and this one don't have it. The one in the center here does. So actually, this is bullet casing right here. This bullet casing, they have them marked down on this image here at 544 and this one at 545, when in fact this one's 545 and this one's 544. This is what I do. I make sure I look at this evidence and piece it the way it's supposed to be. Now I have to do this because when I study and do my investigations on the sniper's nest, I have to fully understand of where they found these objects at, which will give me more insight. Okay, just like right here. I'll pull up this image here. When you're looking at the Texas School Book Depository, okay, a lot of people don't know this, okay, and research is not going to point this out, but I do, because like I said, all the information I put in my video stuff is all in this one book. You have the sniper's nest over here, in this location right here. But over here in this location, that's where they found the Carcano rifle and the clip that goes inside the rifle. And this is where the stairwell is. And this is where they claim that the assassin took his exit, was down his stairwell right here. So now when we look at the Texas School Book Depository, and people there now knows that over here is the sniper's nest. They point this out all the time. But do they ever point out to this window right here saying, hey, here's where they found a Carcano rifle. Here's where they found that clip. And that's the staircase right there. They don't do this, but I do. Okay. So now you know, right now, this information that the exit right here is where they found the Carcano rifle and the clip for the rifle. And this staircase is right here, supposedly the exit. And right over here is the sniper's nest. Excuse me. Still fighting a cold and stuff like that. Still trying to get through all this. And the congestion is starting to break up. But anyway, okay, so now we know the location. Now, what I did was, after I lined the bullets up, okay, find out what bullet is what casing, then I went ahead and we found Oswald's fingerprint, which is his right thumbprint on the bullet casings. Now, how he got his right thumbprint on here, as you notice, which I'll pull up this image here, we have a partial thumbprint. Now, as I said in my other videos and stuff like that, a lot of researchers are not going to tell you this information, okay? Because if they tell you this information, they can be blown away on their case of trying to prove Oswald's innocent. But the reason why we have a partial print here and not a full thumbprint is because pure effect is when you load up a bullet, say this is the bullet right here, and you load it up, you slide in the clip like this, okay? So you're only going to get a partial print, which is more or less the center of your thumbprint, is what you're going to get on that bullet casing, not your full thumbprint. Now, like I said before, I also say in my book, they're going to sit there, a researcher, if a researcher says, well, okay, they took these bullet casings and they went ahead to the morgue and, you know, put Oswald's thumbprints on. No, they would have used it 54 years ago as against evidence because they marked down in the FBI files and all, there was no fingerprints found on bullet cases. But as you can see here, plain as day, there is a thumbprint on here. And when we brought this out, researcher says, well, you can't, you know, you can't dispute that because you can't see the thumbprint. Okay, you can't see the fingerprint. So after I line up Oswald's thumbprint and stuff, you know, it's 99.99%. It's Oswald's right thumbprint. Okay, so the next thing I did was I went ahead and took the images, made a copy of the images, and placed the evidence back into its location where it was discovered. Okay, right here, a lot of people don't know. When you look at this image, you're going to say, well, where they found a paper bag at? Because a lot of people don't tell you where they found a paper bag at. But this is where the paper bag was found. And right here is exactly where Oswald's palm print was found. His right palm print, okay, was found right here. And as you see here, even this box has an imprint of somebody sitting on it. Okay, so we know that somebody was sitting on this box here. And this is where Oswald's right palm print was found. Now, the next thing I did was I took these bullet casings and I placed them back in their locations, as you see here. Bullet casing 544 was found right here, which I'm going to have to zoom in because so you can see it, because I know I'm over on this over here. But anyway, this is bullet casing 544 right here. Okay, this is where they found it at. This is bullet case 545. This is where they found it at. And this is bullet case 543 right here. Now, these are the two bullet casings that has Oswald's right thumbprint on it. Now, the next thing I did was, after I did that, I went ahead and I took this image out here, and I placed all the evidence back into the location where it was found. Now, you have to do this when you're doing an investigation, so you get more detail, more insight of what actually took place in that location at the time, because no researcher or anybody else has been in that location, just the police officers, FBI agents, and everything else. So we have to put this back as a researcher. We have to put this back in there if we're going to do our own investigation. Now, Oswald's right palm print was found right here. The bag is found right here. Now, Oswald's left palm print was found over here, and his right index fingerprint was found here. Then we have the two bullet casings with Oswald's right thumbprint on them in this location here. Now, with us placing this evidence back into his location where it was found, we have more details now, which I'm going to show you here right now. Which first we're going to zoom that down. Now, I'm going to show you these two images here. This is how Oswald was sitting when he took his shots. You see how he's sitting down on a box, which I showed you. There's an impression of someone sitting on that box. And this is how he was standing. Okay, we have his left hand on this side, left arm on this side, and right arm on this side, right? Okay, we got this view here. Now, we see here, he's got his left arm right here, his right arm here. He's sitting on a corner box, as we see there in impression stuff. Now, with this kind of information that we see, okay, now we know exactly what happened here. Okay, which I'm going to show you right now. Now, Oswald sits down. Let's say he sits down. Say the box is right here. Okay, he sits down. Okay, he takes the rifle out, puts the bag right beside him, which is on his right side where it was found right here. Now, Oswald's sitting here, and he, dropped the bag right here. Now, Oswald took his right palm print, placed it on the corner of the box where it was found right here, and he adjusted himself and moved over a little bit. So he was like this, and then he put his weight on it, one hand, on his right hand. Now he's got his palm print there. And then when he is adjusting this box right here to get it in motion, he put his left hand on this side, and his right index finger, push on this corner, which is right here. He pushed on this corner of the box, okay, and then slide the box that way. So see, now this evidence, by placing it back together and putting it back in the location where it was found, now we get more insight of what Oswald did. So he got his rifle out, put it together, put the bag on the side there, put his right arm on the side here, turn over just a little bit more, adjust himself, then took the box, put his palm print here, and his hand right here, adjusted over, and then grabs his rifle again, and then he sets up. He's ready for taking his shots. So see, this gives us information. People don't understand. This gives us information on what he did right there. And I also want to point out right here, if they took these objects to the morgue as they claim, how they knew exactly right location where they're going to put these palm prints at and these fingerprints and stuff like that. Okay, because they would have to start imagining, well, Oswald will be sitting here, and he had to do this and do that, and they're going to have to sit there and try to figure out before they can even start putting these fingerprints in these locations. Okay, so it'll line up and match that spot. Okay, but they didn't do it because they found Oswald's prints on them the day of the assassination or that night. They didn't take him to morgue. Researchers are going to tell you they took it to morgue, but they didn't because they want to prove their case of Oswald's innocent. And they're not going to give you this type of information saying, well, here's the bullet casings right here was found. This is bullet casing 545 was found here. 544 was found here. The bag was found right here in this location. His right palm print was found here. His left palm print was found over here. His right index finger was found here. They're not going to give you this information, but I'm giving you this information right now. And it's also, I just point out in my book, all this information is in my book, and they don't understand this. Now we know exactly why Oswald was doing there. Okay, we know he was actually one of the assassins. And then what I'm going to show you now is, again, these photos gives us more information. Again, just like let's take a look at let's say this image right here. Okay. Now this image here, this one image, we can see there was actually someone stepped on this box right here and gave this crease in this corner of this box. But why was there somebody stepping there? Excuse me for a moment. Why was somebody stepping there? Then we're going to look at the Dillard image. Okay, now as we see here, I'm going to zoom in. We see Oswald right here. Okay, there's Oswald. Now a lot of people says, "Oh no, that's not Oswald. That image has been altered and everything else, and blah blah blah." But what we're going to do is I'm going to show you that this image cannot be altered. We're going to zoom in. Okay. Now, as we see here, we see the water streaks and the watermarks on the glass itself on the window pane. Where's it at? It's not behind Oswald. If it was altered, we should see Oswald's face right here, and none of this watermarks. We should see no watermarks here and no watermarks right in here. We should not see none of this, or even this watermark is coming down the side here. We should not see, or the watermark on this side, because we should see just mainly Oswald's face. Which Oswald had to be, the only way they can put Oswald's face behind there is they would have to hold an image of Oswald behind the glass. But remember, this is taken at the time of assassination. So Oswald is there. Now, a lot of people will say, well, we can also see a collar of a jacket or some kind of maybe even overalls around Oswald's neck. Right here, we see a collar. Now, a lot of people says, oh, well, either someone else or even me took Oswald's mugshot and placed it there and did that. No, I did not do that. I guarantee you I didn't do that. And no one else did it, because pure simple fact that in Oswald's mugshots, he didn't have no collar around his neck, which we can see a collar right here. And Oswald had a mark above his eyes and stuff. There's no marks above his eyes right here. And Oswald's looking straight ahead. And in this image here, he's looking more off to the right. Okay, he's looking more off to the right. Now, then people says, well, why you can't see his body? Well, actually, his body's there. You can see the imprint of his body in this image. It's just a pure simple fact of it is he's bending down as he's coming down. Then a lot of people says, well, Oswald had to be 6 foot tall or more to be able to look at that section here, which again, I go ahead and I prove it again. Like I said, if we look at this image here, we're going to see Oswald looking out of this right here, this section right here. Even this short guy here can look out right of this window right here. Okay, this guy here is probably about 6 feet tall, and he's like right up in this location here. But Oswald's looking out here. But why was he looking out here? Because when I seen the Diller image and I found it, I was like, why was Oswald over there? That made me think. So I sit there and I was like, well, when we look at this, when we look at the images, like I said, well, we see right here that there's a pry bar on the windowsill. That's in this image right here. Okay, I'll pull this image up here. We see there's a pry bar right here on the windowsill here. Okay, because like I said, why would he be stepping? Why would he be staying in this location? Why would he be Why would somebody be stepping up on this location? And then we see Oswald in this location. It's like, well, we see a pry bar here. Where do you use that pry bar at? That's when I start looking above and above the window, and you can actually see that there's a box, a wooden box above the window here. Okay, and there's a pry mark here which matches this pry bar here, which I'll show you here. This mark matches right here, this imprint right here, matches the tip of this pry bar right here. And then there's a crack that goes all the way across this. In every image that we see here, we see the pry mark right here, and there's a crack right across there. So that's where I found out, that's when I started thinking, and I was like, well, let's look at this now. Let's put all this information together, okay, in this location. What happened was, Oswald put his left foot over here, his right foot over here, placed the rifle that he would actually use right above him, above the window, and then replaced the wood back, and then start stepping down. And that's when he got that image taken as he was stepping down. Because see, he's looking out to the right here, and if he's coming straight in here, Oswald will be looking out to the right as well. Okay, so see, that's what I said. After Oswald took his shots and stuff, he walked over here, stepped right, put 1 foot here, 1 foot here, placed a rifle that he used in the assassination. Because remember, that other one was a decoy. If you watch my other videos, I show you and I tell you I pointed out it's actually a decoy rifle. Oswald placed his rifle up here and then steps down right here, and that's when they took his picture in that location. Like I said, these images give us a lot of information. Now, when we look at these images, which I want to show this right here real quick, okay, let me pull this one up. Even today, we can see both in prime marks right above that windowsill right there, above that window. Okay, there's a box. That's a hollow box which has bricks laying on it. It goes out this way, and there's a hollow spot in there. Because I was in construction for 33 years of my life. I've been in construction, and I worked on these type of windows and everything else. And this is an empty box. Now, they said they replaced the windows, but remember, they only replaced the window down here. They didn't replace this box because this is the same box that's always been there. They just took out the window panes and replaced the side frames, which they really didn't replace the side frames. They just took the window out itself and then replaced it with another window. But that box is right there, is still there. That's the same exact box because the prime marks are in the same location as we see in the images, and it's got that crack across there. That's where Oswald hit his rifle at. Okay, like I said, there's a lot of information in these images and stuff, but they're not going to tell us this. Now I'm going to show you something else that a lot of people don't understand, which I'm going to pull this image up here. Okay, and I'm going to zoom in. Now, I know I'm over in this location here, but what do you see in this image? I'm going to pause for just a second here. There's other information that's in this image that was overlooked that no one's bothered looking at. Now I'm going to show you. We're going to zoom in. And what are we going to find here on this box? We're going to see an imprint, a dent, in this box of a rifle butt plate. Now, as you see here, which I'm going to pull up, see right here. We're going to zoom in, and you see there is a butt plate from a rifle, from the bottom of the rifle. Someone pressed down with a rifle right there. That's also in a sniper's nest. But people is not going to point this out, which I'm going to show you right here. Okay, there's a butt plate right here from a bottom of a rifle. And there is the same exact shape and size as we see on this one here. Now this one actually belongs to M1 sniper's rifle. M1 sniper's rifle. Like I said, that information is all in this book. Okay, it's all in this book, Evidence of a Conspiracy. A researcher is not going to tell you this because researchers don't know this, but we can actually see a butt plate imprint of a rifle on this box here, and it's the same exact and size as we see on a butt plate from M1 Springfield sniper's rifle. That's why I said, and when I look at the image, backyard image and stuff, because there's a lot of information that a lot of people don't know and they overlook this, but we see here exactly right here that there's actually an imprint of a rifle butt print, a butt plate from a rifle right here on this box that he shot out of. Even in this image here, we're going to zoom in, and you see there's that mark. That's a butt plate from the rifle right there. So see, people are not going to tell you this. Okay, a researcher's not going to tell you this, and I'm going to see if it's on this. It should be on this one here too. Nope. Let's see, because that's lights are reflecting off of it. But we can see it right here. Definitely, we can see it right here as well. It's on the box right here, as we see it right here. Okay, that imprint right there. Okay, a researcher is not going to tell you this because they don't even know this information because they're not looking for that information. They're looking for a story to tell. As I point out here, a lot of these photographic evidence will give us a lot of information if we know what we're looking for. When we're doing investigation, that's why I said when I do my research, not only I do research, I do an investigation as well. Just like when I on one of Tramp's. On his lapel, on his left side, we see an imprint of a butt plate from a rifle on his left lapel with initials AA in it. Again, we see another butt plate print on one of the boxes in the sniper's nest window. That's where he actually took his shot from. Okay, excuse me. So to me, how that print got there was when Oswald climbed up on this. Okay, after he took his shots, remember, he put the rifle down to step over the boxes. Okay, so he can come up here and then place the rifle back in there, place a piece of wood back up in there, come back down. Dillard snaps his image while he's getting there. Then all I had to do is walk around here and just go straight down the elevator, down steps. I mean, to go to the second floor lunchroom. So see, a lot of information could tell us exactly his movements of how he did this and how he did that. A lot of information we pull from here, we can see there's actually his prints found on this section here. Okay, we put the bullet casings back in their locations. He has the right thumbprint on it. He's got his his right index finger imprint here, his left palm print here, right palm print here, the bag right here, and then we have a butt plate of a rifle impressed into the top of the box. So see, all this is indicating we have the bullet casing, we have a butt plate imprint from a rifle, okay, pressed into the box, and the bullet casings, and we have Oswald's prints. Okay, there's a lot more evidence that is not in this video, which you'll find in this book here, because I know this video is probably real long right now at this point. But I want to give more of this information out and give people more of an update what's going on and how I analyze films and images and what these images tell us. There's a lot of, like I said, there's a lot of information we could pull from these images and stuff if we place everything back. Research is not going to give you this information because they won't take the time, because they don't even know this information, because they don't take the time like I do to find the answers of, okay, what did he do in this location after he did this and did that? So now I go into detail now after finding all this information out and doing my investigation and doing my research and piecing all this evidence together. Now I know exactly, like Oswald, when he took his shots, okay, he adjusted himself, he moved the box around, adjusted himself, and then he pressed down on here so he can step over this box here. When he pushed down on his rifle, then make the imprint into the box, so he can climb over here, climbs up here, places the wood is already open anyway, and he puts his rifle in there, takes a piece of wood, pushes it back in there, steps down, walks around, and heads out to the elevator. Okay, so see, now I know his movements of what he did when he was in that location and how he did it, because by placing all this information and all this evidence back in the location that was found. Okay, don't forget to tell your friends about us. I'm going to make another video here about Oswald's 2 shots, which I'm going to post this video and that video at the same time. And if you wanted to go in more details and look at a lot more evidence, this book here, Evidence of Conspiracy, the only book that's ever going to be printed with this much information in it and everything you want to know, just like if you want to do your own investigation, it's best to get this book here, because you're going to have all the information in this book that I just point out in my videos and everything else. And like I said, for the month of November and December, all my book sales, even including this book sale, all this is going to go in that GoFundMe account, so we can do a proper documentary on the JFK assassination, because that's what needs to be done, a proper investigation, a proper documentary put together with all this information in, and we can go through a step at a time, and we can do the testing and everything else. So I'll stop right here. Don't forget to hit the like button. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Tell your friends about us. Share this video. In the description down below, you're going to see a site where the GoFundMe account, if you want to make a donation, $1, $2, it doesn't matter, because anybody that makes any kind of donations, their name's still going to go into credits. And if you want to buy one of my books, the description down below is going to be the link where you can buy any of my books. And all book sales for November and December is going to also go in that GoFundMe account, so this documentary can be made. So you have a pleasant night, and God bless.